وبركاته. I'm very glad and very honored to be here today in front of this huge people attending this first SUGMEAN conference of SAP. I'm going to warm up, so don't worry. My voice will come up to you. So it was very interesting journey at King Abdulaziz University to choose and select SAP as our ERP system. So I was invited today to tell you our story. The story was over 4 or 5 years since we started thinking about implementing an ERP systems. King Abdulaziz University has been using legacy system for so many years, for about 20 years, based on obsolete technology like cobble cakes and things like that. And then all of a sudden, the internet and the web technology came around, and we thought we need to change. We have done some work, but we couldn't complete, we couldn't finish it up. So we came back again telling ourselves where we want to go, how we want to do this new stuff again. So it was like finding our destiny. Our destiny, we want to take King Abdulaziz University as a public organization to be more efficient, to be more productive, to be less bureaucratic organization, and to be leading other government organization. More budget and more money spending. How are we going to meet this destiny? Are we going to add more money because we are a government sector? Are we going to employ or take more people into our organization to reach this destiny? Are we going to improve our business process? Or what are we going to do? Are these, all of them, people, technology, business process, are they going to take us into our destiny or not? What was our dreams? Our dreams was to have a paperless environment, to be more efficient organization, and to be more productive, to be more transparent into our customer, to have a budget utilization. For example, at King Abdulaziz University, our main focus is education and research. I want to see, as an academic staff at King Abdulaziz University, I want to see more money being spent on education and research, because this is our core business. I don't want to see our money, which is allocated by the government, to be spent on, more buildings, more chairs, more tables, even though these items are very important. Lacking information to the executive management team because of information fragmentation, system fragmentation, will cause them to spend more money on items which are not related to their core business. And the most worst thing is that sometimes you take your decision based on unupdated or inaccurate data or information because of system defragmentation and of problems of information flow between your different organization units. So these dreams, we believe at KAU, after a huge investigation and different point of views and a lot of politics, of course, we believe that this formula will take King Abdulaziz University to our destiny. Dreams plus an ERP system should help us to reach our destiny. These are symptoms of telling you at your organization that you need to do something about your IT, about your system, about your current situation with your technology. If you have a weak reporting, for example, it used to take us, for example, several weeks to get a consolidated report about our finance system at King Abdulaziz University. So this is the first time, if you have the first symptoms, if you have weak reporting mechanism, at your organization, even though you have a lot of system running around. Weak information flow between your organization unit and systems. This is another issue. Business decision, as I said, based on unupdated, inaccurate data. Fragmented organization systems. If you have one or more of these symptoms, then you are surely in need of a new system. After this comes the questions of developing our own custom system or buying out-of-the-shelf system or an ERP systems. From our experience, since we have been doing development of our legacy system over 20 years, it looks good and nice to build your own people, capability and maturity to develop your own systems. But at what cost? And how far you can go with this? We all know how government in our region work. We lack experience, we lack commitment, we lack best industry practices in our systems. For example, when we started collecting a business requirement, we went back to our history of 20 years of implementation. We found very little information about system requirement, about business requirement, about user requirements into these systems. Most of the people, they were in and out into our IT organization or our IT units, developing tools and developing software without properly documenting these requirements. So we ended up spending more time, more money, more human resources to keep developing these systems, and we found out we are not getting really what we want. We have been running our system, of our organization, of course, but not the best the way we wanted it to be. So it will be always a question to ask, are we gonna implement our own system or invest in an ERP best practice standard system? The way I look into an ERP is that to integrate your business process with your people, with your technology, to achieve your business dreams. And personally, I believe an ERP can be a paper-based. The only difference is that with an ERP tool or software, you will automate this paper-based environment, and you will become more paperless environment. So coming now to our KU case. I am trying to summarize 5 years into 30 minutes, so I will leave to your imagination how we reached this decision. KU case. Our legacy system is more than 15 years. We have more than 100K students, male and females. We have more than 15,000 staff between academic and administrative. We have a huge history of data which are inconsistent, unupdated, and sometimes inaccurate, especially our HR data. And we have a complex and dynamic nature of business at King Abdulaziz University. Always new requirements come up from different business departments. So the question is, to ERP or not to ERP? To do this, to make our decision, we have gone through an assessment exercise. And I really strongly advise any organization who are looking to make a decision to go into an ERP system is to do this exercise, the assessment exercise. The assessment exercise will tell you more about your business process maturity, about your people maturity, about your IT infrastructure maturity, how strong it is, and about organization maturity. You will be amazed and surprised that you will find new business process when you are documented these into a paper-based documents. We came out with 120 pages of report after this exercise, which took us about 4 months, 12 weeks. So we find, after doing this exercise, that King Abdulaziz University is indeed must have to implement an ERP system. And we are ready to go for an ERP system because we will benefit out of this system. So after this decision, what I call the which question. So which ERP to go with? And this is a very debatable question, especially in government. Because in government we have a lot of different conflict of interest, a lot of politics, a lot of different agenda of people. And the executive team will never push the button. They will never say go with this product or that product. They will keep it to the people. Because this is by nature in government, nobody is willing to take a risk or to take a responsibility. Everybody is willing to throw the ball to the other party. So someone has to make that decision. So the which questions, really to help you or to guide you through these questions, is you need to build your business needs and cases, to go and sit down with your different business departments, to listen them, to get them engaged from the early stages before even you make the decision. It will be much, much better than you make your decision alone and then you come to them asking them how they do business because you want to implement it into this system which you have bought alone, away from them. They will never be helpful to you. And then build your requirements, of course, as much as you can. I understand this in government is very tedious, very long exercise because, as I said, government employees usually are not so much motivated to sit down and give you information. There's nothing will come out for them to give you more time. They are always busy with their business. They are always busy with their paperwork. So they always have no time. They always have no time. Shortlist your ERP vendor list, map requirement to your ERP, and then select the best that most fit your gap or close your gap after you analyze your business requirement. It sounds easy, but it is very tricky and very exhausting exercise, but it will always be very good to do it before you go and select an ERP system. These are other selection criteria which we use also. Find about our maintenance and support from the vendor that you are willing to go with. Find about human resource availability, consultant of such a system. Site visit similar institution who have implemented the vendor you are looking to go with. Map your budget to your cost, how much budget you need, how much money you need, and learn from other people's experiences as well. So, finally, we decided at King Abdulaziz University to go with SAP for so many reasons, but I shorted them here from my point of view. We found out that SAP is a pure ERP, business-oriented company. I wanted to talk about my business requirements. I don't care about what is your technology type, which database you're going to run it on which premises. Whatever the technology is, I don't care. I care, I want to push a button and get my 15,000 employee payroll run out and accurately. How you do it, where you do it, which database, I don't care. This is my bottom line basic business requirement. So I always keep this in mind, talk business. I don't like talking about IT, even though I teach IT. IT alone will get you nowhere, believe it or not. It is very important to focus on your business. What is the business needs? What is the business requirements? So we found out SAP is doing this indeed. They talk business, they understand the business need, they know what is the business environment are and the business requirement. SAP is pure business-oriented company. They always look into the business process of the customers, how they work. They try to standardize all these business processes. So for example, HR. What is HR? HR is all about recruitment, keeping your employee, giving them their benefits, you know what I mean? Making them more into learning, education. So it's almost all the same all over the world. HR is an HR. So if a company bring up a business standard, best practice for an HR, why should I reinvent the wheel? Why I shouldn't go with such a company? So I have time to focus on my core business. So I have a time to focus on my research. I have a time to focus on my education. And then SAP is very challenging to implement, and King Abdulaziz University, we like challenges. Okay. Success factors for implementing an ERP system, not only SAP. Be transparent from day one with your executive team and with your employees. If you are riding now a bicycle, okay, do not tell your employee that they will be riding a Rolls Royce next day after implementing an ERP. It will never happen like this. So be transparent with your team and with your executive people from day one about this project. Executive support and executive buy-in are very crucial, very important to any ERP implementation. An ERP implementation will shake your organization out, believe it or not. You will never understand this until you go through an ERP project implementation. It will change your business process. It will make people freaking out until you get them there. I have seen this myself personally, okay? So if you do not have, go to your executive person, staff, decision maker, your president, your organization CEO, and tell him in his face, if you are willing to go for an ERP, I must be seeing you every day basis through this implementation. If you do not have enough support, strong support, and I mean it, I emphasize on it, from your executive team in your public organization, especially in our public organization, this will be very tough for you to go through. It will always be business decision. Through all our implementation exercise so far, 90% of our time we spend with the business people, business users, not with the IT. Very few time we sit with the IT people, the IT unit. They install the system, they install the database, they arrange the servers, the backup system, blah, blah, blah. That's it. We have never seen them since then. 90% of the time will be with your business people, making the decision about which way to go with this implementation. Build your team. We have a very wrong understanding of vendor management. What do I mean by this? Especially in government. We sign a contract with blah, blah, blah company, X company. They are going to implement SAP. So where we're going to go? We're going to go home. We're going to wait for them after a year to bring this system up and live. Sorry, this is a very wrong understanding of how to manage your vendor, especially in ERP implementation. If you do not have a team, if you're not willing to sit shoulder to shoulder, okay, back to back with your implementer, so that they understand your requirements, they will drive this implementation, and it will become an IT project. It will not be anymore a business project or an ERP project. So build your team from the beginning. It doesn't have to be a huge team, doesn't have to be a strong team. They don't have to be consultant in your ERP selection, in this case SAP, but at least they must have minimum requirement that they do understand the business. For example, you should have at least one member of your team who understands the HR business process in your organization and the HR rules, and you must have one in the finance as well, one in the warehousing, inventory, whatever ERP modules you want to implement. So you must have a team. those companies will never implement the system if you do not have a team. You must understand this. Sorry. And also, in government organization, as well as in private organization, please, in ERP implementation, no politics, no hidden agenda. These things will kill the ERP implementation if they exist. And I know in public organization, they exist a lot. Try to manage them. Try to bring every person who is member of this implementation into board. I told my team and I told all the parties involved at King Abdulaziz University from day one, if this project become a failure, I will stand up in front of the president, taking alone the responsibility. If it becomes a success, we will all share this success. So I give them a kind of security. They feel secure, especially in public organization. They need to hear this statement. If you fail alone. Okay, I said yes, I'm gonna do it. So if you wanna do this in your organization, inshallah, your implementation will be successful. And there should not be any factor that you will fail if you stand up and you take this responsibility. Be ready to sacrifice your life and your family because you will consume a lot of your time. Other factors, manage people expectation is very important, okay? Because after a while from this implementation exercise, people will start realizing how much benefits such a system will bring to them. And as soon as you start training and user acceptance testing to your users, they will start having the first experience with the system, which is totally new to them. And they will understand how powerful is the system. This is very tricky. Now they will start thinking, riding the Rolls Royce. Okay, I give you a very funny story, and it is a real story. One of the business users, he asked one of the consultants, okay, I understand now this system. It's very nice, very good, very beautiful, very strong. Let us now go ride the Rolls Royce. I want the screen, when I have a notification from the president, to start shaking. Wallahi al-Azim, he said that literally, and he mean it. Because the consultant, especially in the finance module and budgeting module, there was a business requirement for them, the employees of this department, to kind of have chatting screens into the system, which was not part of an SAP or not part of the scope, but he did it for them. So when they say this, they can exchange chatting screen from within SAP, from within their finance module. Okay, Ahmed, I send you this. I have done the allocation for the budget. And they see this message instantly. They start adding new requirements. Okay, where we are. Get all people involved, as I said, strong change management program. Believe me, if you ask me what is an ERP implementation are all about, they are all about executive support, data, your data readiness, change management. That's it. Otherwise, those companies, they do very good exercise in building their software tools. They follow best practice to implement these systems and to build them. It's not the problem with the system as long as they install it in the box and they give it to you. But the issue here is to load your data into such a system to convince your people, business people, to use this new system. And to do these items, you must have your executive support. So all ERP projects are about your data readiness. Is your data ready for these systems or not? And are your people ready to use this system or not? And believe me, from our experience at King Abdulaziz University, the main issue we face is change management. Because here is the story. For example, our procurement and contract manager is 55 years old. Why he should be using a new system? He was using a system for 20 years now. What is the motivation for him to be trained and to use a new system? Nothing. Yes? So it will be very tough to convince him to use such a system. Business people must be owner of the project and choose the right and experienced implementer. This is very important as well. Failure factors: poor executive sponsorship and weak information and data readiness, poor or wrong change management program, and business process and business rules. What I mean here, in government, we always mix between business process and business rules. So when we come to implementation of an ERP system, we want the implementer to do exactly what we are doing now on paper base. And we keep telling them, this is the business rules. Sorry, wrong. This is not the business rules. This is what you have been doing 20 years, and maybe wrong. But it has nothing to do with the rules or the law. I bet you, if you open the rules, it has nothing to do about how you do your business. So what we try to do to convince the implementer that this is the rules, and to force them to implement the business process as a rule, which is wrong. It has nothing to do with the rule. And no or weak organization team. In a summary, ERP implementation is a journey, is not a project. It's not a project to be finished. It's a journey. The first step of that journey to lay down this ERP implementation, and then you can continue building on top of that. ERP, I look to ERP implementation as a soft infrastructure project. We usually use infrastructure for the hardware, the cabling, the things like that. I look to an ERP implementation as a soft infrastructure, because an ERP implementation will force you to make your data ready, first step. And making your data ready is a nightmare, especially in big organization. Completing the data, making sure that your data is accurate, building your organization structure, especially in public government. So it is a soft infrastructure project. It will lay down, it will put the puzzles into a whole one picture, where then you can start flying and dreaming to build more into it. ERP is a must for taking your business or your public organization into your future. Thank you very much for listening.